Look out, Doctor! I'm coming to find you! What's this? Some water? I know! I'll poison the water, so if the Doctor drinks it, he'll get poisoned! Yeah!
What's this? Some water and poison. No, I don't think so.
No! My brilliant plan has been foiled! How could I have possibly seen this coming?
This is real, by the way. This actually happens in the episode. Hello and welcome back to Classic Doctor Who Reviews, where today I'll be taking a look at a story that I've been wanting to watch for years, but never got around to until now. That story being The Deadly Assassin, iconic for being one of the only solo Doctor stories in the classic series. That's right, no companion this time around, as well as having an iconic design for a returning iconic villain. Yes, iconic is the operative word used to describe this 4-part serial from 1976. Straight away, I was caught off guard by a sudden text crawl in the introduction. How very Star Wars, I thought to myself, but no, at this point, Star Wars A New Hope was still a year away, so just a sudden text crawl with narration. That's a creative decision, I suppose. Neat. Carrying on from the end of the Hand of Fear, the Doctor returns to Gallifrey after receiving a harrowing premonition, that being the execution of the President of Gallifrey. So, gotta save the day, Doc. However, upon arrival, he's met with immediate hostility. Now, you might be wondering, why is the Doctor still being treated as a criminal for stealing a TARDIS way back when he very clearly came to an understanding with the Time Lords when he helped them out back in the events of the Three Doctors, and he's had run-ins with them since, like in Genesis of the Daleks, so what gives? Well, it turns out that was an offshoot of the Time Lord hierarchy called the CIA, no relation, who released him from his earthly exile. Sure, it's a bit contrived, but it was an obvious intentional decision so that the Doctor would have to face some opposition, forcing him to be all stealthy ninja-like. Otherwise, he could literally just rock up, warn the President, and then bugger off just like that, which means Sarah's departure would have been for nothing. Plus, it means we get a thrilling whodunit, with the Doctor being framed for murder by the Master. Oh, I'm sorry, did I not give that a dramatic reveal? Well, neither does the story itself. There's two hooded, cloaked individuals lurking in the shadows, one of which refers to the other as his master, which I thought, okay, that could just be like a clever misdirect, and just a leadership term where he just refers to him as master, only for them to later on reveal that he was in fact the master all along. But no big reveal, no build-up, the Doctor just figures it out mid-conversation. Bit underwhelming, but no time to dwell on it, because Tom Baker's been practicing his trick-shotting in preparation for the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 release today. Just look at that quick-scope action! You're on fire, Doctor! Also, before I forget, I find it so funny that there's a Time Lord local news broadcast, complete with a monotone news reporter and everything. And in today's Gallifrey Society news, Doctor Who fans find something to complain about, but perhaps this time it could be justified. Seriously, why are they calling Series 14 Season 1? It makes no sense. What are you doing, Russell T Davies? Back on track now. I admire the unspoken law that, spoiler alert, the President didn't regenerate, which makes me think that elected officials keep their rank throughout all of their regenerations. This also infers that Gallifreyan presidents, or at the very least, this president, don't name a successor until near the end of their last lifespan. Oh my goodness, can you imagine being stuck with the same president or prime minister for several lifetimes? Ugh. No wonder the Time Lords are so messed up. Something else that jumped out at me as being significant, ironically thanks to my recent catch-up of the modern series, is that in The Deadly Assassin, the Master miniaturizes some of his victims, turning them into little figurines, which means that that's such as Master's whole thing in the modern series 12 is a direct throwback to this serial. Double neat. I've got an example of one right here. This is the Time Lord formerly known as Rasa Badufalon. He's now miniature. I just like Bidoof. But that's not as neat as what comes next. Episode 3 is like nothing we've ever seen in Doctor Who before, and might just be my favourite individual episode of classic Doctor Who ever. After standing trial for, I don't know, the 7th or 8th time now, the Doctor seeks to prove his innocence and convince others of the Master's wrongdoing. This is where he enters the computation matrix. It's pretty much the same idea as the Matrix movie you should all know and love, where it's a digital space containing memories and blah 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 sci-fi blah. Look, basically you've got the Doctor trapped in this virtual landscape with all sorts of stuff going on. A continuous bombardment of random assaults coming at him from every which way. And through it all, a masked hunter stalks him through the jungle. A deadly assassin, if you will. This is straight out of the original Predator, or Alone. Anyone else see that movie? No? It's probably on Netflix by now. Anyways, I absolutely loved pretty much everything about this episode. Aside from maybe a couple of stupid decisions made by the hunter, like leaving his stuff lying around, or how about that mind-numbing moment I took the mickey out of at the start, where he poisoned some water with very obvious dark green liquid, then leaves the empty poison bottle sitting by the water that he just poisoned. Idiot! Also, he doesn't smell some obvious gas leading to him almost getting blown up, but aside from that, he's a very threatening villain. And it actually leads to a heck of a good cliffhanger, with the Doctor literally being strangled underwater. Oh, so this must have been that episode that all those "Doctor Who is too violent" Karens must have been referring to back in the day. Well, obviously the Doc's not gonna die, so in the final episode he escapes, and seemingly everything is fine, and okay, can I just stop for a second and say, when watching classic Doctor Who, while I'm taking notes, I do my absolute best to make note of as many examples of moments that jump out to me as possible. But in The Deadly Assassin, there were literally so many great moments that I loved. I stopped taking the notes because there were so many of them, including what happens next. Just when you think everything's all wrapped up nicely, bam! Surprise reveal, and a whole new chapter that leads to a brand new bombastic climax. The new climax is so massive in scale, and the ambitious cinematography just blew me away. If we had to get that absolute bore fest that was the Mask of Mandragora in order to get this masterpiece, then damn it was worth it. This story is fantastic. The Master's design is super disturbing and uncanny, despite being a bit dated by today's standards. I always knew this incarnation of the Master existed, but for some reason, I never expected much from it. I guess I just assumed if it wasn't Roger Delgado or Anthony Ainley, then it didn't really matter. I was so wrong. Peter Pratt did an excellent job of bringing that sort of evil energy that Delgado had, but still injecting his own sinister spin on it. He was great. And I didn't even realise before watching this that this incarnation of the Master technically returns again in a future story before regenerating again, but from the little I have seen, I doubt it will keep that creep factor, especially since they recast him again. I also wanted to bring attention to the character of Chancellor Goth. His performance was very enthralling, and I liked that he got more screen time as the plot progressed. In the end, The Deadly Assassin, to me, was absolutely goated. 10 out of 10, the best classic serial I've seen in ages. Oh, so refreshing. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you thought of The Deadly Assassin in the comments down below. I'd be so curious to see what other people think, seeing as I had such a strong reaction to it. And with that being said, see you guys next week for the Doctor Who 60th Anniversary Special. In the face of fear, I suppose.